be present is to realize that in any given moment, if I'm thinking about something that happened 2 weeks ago, last week, 10 years ago, I'm thinking about what someone somewhere else thinks, I'm worried about the future, you're not here. Your brain, your thought, every time we have a thought, it is literally creating energy, and you are focusing your physical energy into something else somewhere else. And more often than not, in those places where stress, anxiety comes from, your thoughts are thinking of things that are not making you excited to be alive, right? In the now. And when that happens in the now, your physical body starts creating stress chemicals, stress hormones that are physically having an effect on you. So this is all by being worried about what someone else somewhere else thinks, by being worried about what I said last week and if someone's not going to like that, or an email that I sent yesterday and is my boss going to get mad at me, or something that happened to me in high school and whatever. Just, if you're worried about what someone else somewhere else thinks at any point, you're typically not present. If you're scared for the future, if you're unsettled about something that's going to happen that hasn't happened yet, a quick tip and tool for being present is to just recognize what your senses are doing, right? If you're feeling like, hey, I'm curious as to what this presence thing can be. Oh, is that just something that monks do? Is it just a thing? Do I have to, be a guru to decide how to be present? No, right? Obviously, I know there's all sorts of memes out there. We'll see about being present. But if this is something that you want to try more of, you start to, this conversation is like saying, okay, I don't really know enough about being present, but I'd like to try it a little bit because it seems like something that I haven't been able to do in the past. A very basic way to start is just to recognize what the five senses are doing, right? What am I smelling? What am I hearing? What am I seeing? Can I feel the air, against the skin of my face? Am I here now? And when you start, and then once you recognize, okay, by the way, this goes back to the gravity, sunlight, oxygen, that's happening all around literally so that you can exist today. And you start to take that concept into the now, into the present, and realize that there is only now. Like the past is just previous nows that we typically remember not even the way they actually happened. We typically remember them to feed our narrative, whatever the story is that we're telling ourselves over and over again around why life isn't good. And hopefully why life is good. But what I'm saying, if you're in that space where you're feeling like a victim, you feel like life is happening to you, you're typically spending a lot of time thinking about the past and you're living in that past all the time. And you're constantly releasing the same chemicals and you're building the same habits of the same thoughts every single day, 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day that are about not now, right? And so in the now, you're getting the physical response to those thoughts as if it's happening to you now. So instead, recognize that you have the option to literally say, who do I want to be right now? What would it be like to create a person who is present? If somebody was present, how would they be behaving in this moment? And then again, we're introducing curiosity, right? So I'm now detaching myself from the story about the past. And I'm now introducing curiosity. What would it be like to be a person who is present? All of a sudden my brain is saying, oh, I don't know, what would it be? And typically your stories are like, well, it doesn't matter because I can't be present because this happened and that. Okay, that's not what I'm asking though, right? So we're talking to ourselves again. I'm asking, what would it be like to create a person who's present? How would a person who's present behave? They would sit here, they would be here now, they would recognize the beauty in sunlight, the beauty in oxygen, the beauty in everything that's around there. If you're inside, recognize there's things around you that you created or brought into your life. If you're outside, just to recognize nature as a whole thing that is literally sustaining your existence. And it sounds powerful, and that's because it is, or it sounds maybe deep to some other people, but it really is deep. It is this whole concept of that we are not just these meat suits running around on a planet. We are literally, if it gets down to physical energy, we're literally made up of the exact same things that the stars and the sun and the moon and the earth and the plants, it's all the same stuff. It's all physical energy on the micro level. And so when you take time to think about that, okay, so what type of energy do I want to be right now? And you ask yourself that question, then say, okay, let me do that for a second. And you start to build up that habit of doing it more and more. You go from a second to 2 seconds to 10 seconds to 30 seconds to a minute to 2 minutes to 10 minutes, whatever, it becomes this thing. And then the more you start to do, you start to realize, like, this is much better.